So John, so Rob, what do you enjoy the most about your work?
Going home.
I forgot the question. What was the question? What do we change it to?
I don't know.
We're looking forward to this interview. Robin employs 20 people all over the country.
Robert, not Robin.
I never said Robin. This is going to take ages. I didn't say Robin.
Huh?
With Robert Furey today, Managing Director of the UK arm of Florigo. We're really excited to do this interview because I've known Rob for years, bless his heart.
I had hair, yeah.
He had hair, and so did I, to be fair. But a lot has happened over the years, so I thought it would be a great interview to do so you can all learn a little bit about Florigo. You employ 20 people? Or?
About 20 people,
About
yes.
20 people. And what's the breakdown there?
About 7 engineers out in the field. We've got 3 salesmen plus myself, plus all the office staff, so yeah.
So Rob, what's an average day like for you?
I don't have an average day. We've got a couple of different types of days. If I'm in the office, I'm usually in about 7 o'clock in the morning and I work through until about 5, 6 o'clock at night. If I'm going out on the road, I have a nasty habit of making appointments for 9 o'clock wherever we may be in the country.
So you're an early riser then?
I'll start early, yes.
So if you had to be in Glasgow at 9 AM, you'd be on the road from like silly o'clock?
Glasgow, now I'm getting older, I'd probably go the night before.
Well, you look great for 32.
Life's been good to me. Unfortunately, the camera hasn't.
So Rob, what would you say one of your biggest weaknesses are?
I like food.
Okay.
I like lots of food, all different varieties.
And I think also, talking to other Florigo reps, you like red wine as well, is that right?
It's known, yes. Enjoy that as well, but I'm not a complete alcoholic. You know, I go to the meetings, it's going well.
Yeah.
No, joking apart, probably my biggest weakness is I'm quite straight talking.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, for a guy from the Midlands, I talk more like a northerner than anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not heard you say, how am you? Yeah.
Well, about the dialect's probably not, but straight talking, people will ask you if you go into a shop and you're looking to evaluate the business and how to move it forward. I'm quite open, I'm quite straight, I'm quite honest, and I probably lack the ability to sugarcoat it.
So I wouldn't say those are negative things.
You're not on the receiving end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
but no, at the end of the day, you're trying to analyse something and give people an honest answer that they can then build from.
What's the best bit of advice you can give somebody coming into the industry?
My approach when I bought my first fish and chip shop was to serve people exactly how I would want to be treated and served myself. Present the food in a way that I would want to receive it and set the shop out in a clean, tidy manner, the way that I would expect a shop to be set out if I was coming in to eat. In other words, don't give anybody something that you wouldn't be happy to receive yourself. And I think that's probably the fundamental of it. You've got the investment, you've got marketing and everything else, but when it comes down to the crux, be true to yourself and deliver what you would want to have and receive.
So Rob, tell us a little bit about your history before Florigo.
Before Florigo, I've owned 3 shops selling fish and chips, and before that I was in engineering.
Oh, brilliant. And what made you make the leap over to Florigo?
I bought my first fish and chip shop for my wife as a wedding present.
I bet she loves you.
My father always said the secret of a good marriage, start as you mean to go on.
God. Why?
He did actually.
Yeah.
Now I bought my first fish and chip shop as a wedding present for my wife. We developed it, it was very successful, and then we had children and my wife looked after the children, raised them, and although I enjoyed finding a new shop, designing it and taking it up to the level I thought it would do, I enjoyed that part rather than the everyday operation of it. So after the third one, I chose, I was approached actually by Florigo, and I took up that, which is more in line with the engineering which I was doing before we went into fish and chips. So I've come full circle, really.
I was going to get onto that. Did you find that that engineering experience has helped you, you know, running Florigo as such? Or?
I would say so. Occasionally my Dutch counterparts would disagree because I will argue with how they do something, but generally speaking, yes, it gives me a better understanding, more of production flow, which people overlook when they're planning a fish and chip shop.
So Rob, what makes Florigo special?
I think it's the team. We've got a really good team of people, and we've managed to do it without internal politics. They're just a good crowd of people, they get on well, and they do a good job. Simple as that.
You sort of, over the years, you've grown the business very organically, very safely, and you know, you've got more engineers now. You know, would you say that's important for you, that you've not overspread yourself?
You have a duty to your employees to keep a safe and even keel. It's their livelihoods as much as yours. But we've grown organically as the needs of the market. We've been able to do it by supporting, we've built the engineers up before we built the sales. So that when we build sales and we increase our volumes, we're able to cope with the engineering aspect of it. Last thing I want to do is sell huge volumes and not be able to support them within the field.
So now that you've built up your team, do you find that servicing is more important than what it was, let's say, 20 years ago, let's say?
I think the equipment is far more complex than it was 20 years ago. It's able to support the fryer far better than it ever could before. So the fryer now is able to take his head out the pan and concentrate on running his business. 20 years ago when I was frying, you had to turn the gas down or up depending on what you were going to put in the pan. And I think you'll probably look statistically, a chip shop was more likely to go up in smoke than get robbed. That's changed. You turn the pan on, it will automatically go up to your set temperature. All you have to do is concentrate on loading and unloading. This enables a far less skilled person today to produce a consistent quality product, and it enables managers and owners to concentrate more on the whole customer experience and building their business. And so it's a more, to be fair, it's a more difficult business today than it was then. You've got marketing, deliveries, takeaway, restaurant. There's far more facets to it. For you to become successful, you have to be on top of all of those.
So like years ago, if you opened a fish and chip shop, you just opened the door and people stormed through.
That's right.
And nowadays it's just not the case. So
I think the public's expectation of any product offering is far greater today than it was 20 years ago. And I mean, whether you look at fish and chips, pubs, restaurants, you know, if you go back 25, 30 years, life on the edge would have been a steak chasseur followed by a Black Forest gatto. Now you go to many different places and you are getting pretty much fine dining in a casual environment, and fish and chips has to compete with that, and I think it's done very well. I still think it's probably the number one meal I would want to sit down to, providing it's done properly.
Rob, I did ask you about how important service is, and you went off on a tangent.
Well, I went off on a tangent, coming back to it. Ranges are more complex than they were years ago. There are far more safety measures within a range today than there were 20, 30 years ago. In addition to that, there are far more regulations about who can actually work on a range than there were back then. 30 years ago, there hadn't been a fire in Heathrow Airport and nobody was worried about cleaning ducting. Today, insurance companies cannot want you to clean ducting between 1 and 2 times a year. The range itself needs to be serviced at least once a year. But being a more complex thing, very similar to any car that you might buy, it tends to be the dealers that are doing the servicing today rather than small independents, simply because as the complexity has increased, to learn and understand that range requires factory training and becoming a specialist within that particular brand. So to support that, we run with currently 7 engineers nationwide and a full backup team here to make sure that people receive, in the event of something going wrong, there's a prompt and reliable service, and we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on a telephone response as well.
So Rob, we just touched on it in a previous question a little bit, but I want to draw it out of you a little bit more. Customers' expectations now, fish and chip customers are really high. They expect a lot for their money. How do you see that evolving over the years with the fish and chip industry?
Well, I think it's already here to a certain extent. People's expectations are very high. The shops that are growing and the shops that are maintaining and growing their position cook to order. If you're going to open a shop or take your shop to the next level, you need to cook the product to order. Now that people may laugh at that and say, well, I'm so busy. The reality is, if you're a very busy shop on a Friday and you throw a pan of fish in, and the fish comes out, you put it in the hot box, clean the pan out, and you put in your second pan of fish in, if that fish is gone by the time the next lot of fish comes out, that's cooked to order. Yeah. Where shops slip up, when it's quiet, you don't have to fill the cabinet. Leave the cabinet empty, cook it to order. Now, some people say, my customers won't wait. And that's actually a confidence thing. If your product's good enough, they will wait for it. I go for an Indian meal, it takes 40 minutes. Chinese, it takes 20 minutes. Both occasions, I'm waiting for them. It's made to order. Fish and chips is no different. Respect the product. The other thing that I see interesting is shops that are purely about fish and chips have gone a little bit more into seafood and different types of fish. Maybe slightly chefy, a little bit more artisan, but are really thriving, and that's fantastic. That's great news for the industry. It shows a huge future. But bottom line, you need to cook fresh. People want to see it prepared and cooked in front of them. And if you do that, they're always going to have the best quality product to take home or to eat in your restaurant. Even if you're doing delivery, if it's cooked to order and then taken straight out, it stands a better chance of being in a good state of play by the time the customer comes to eat it. And I think you need to be looking at equipment to support that. The secret to good fish and chips is quite simple. Clean oil, right temperature, buy the best quality products, and don't cook it too early. Cook it for when somebody wants it. Yeah. And the hard part is sticking to those rules day in, day out. Whether you've had a row with the wife or you got up and you didn't feel like doing it that day, it's about still sticking to those rules and producing a consistently good product, but cooking it as and when people need it.
So we've just wrapped up. We hope you enjoyed. And if you do want to ask Rob any questions, just hit him up, visit the website. We're going to link to the Florigo YouTube channel there, and be sure to subscribe, share and comment, and have a great day.